Okay, so kind of recoup here. Okay, so this was my plight. Is I was 27 years of age in the flesh, very powerful, very strong in the ways of the world. Matter of fact, life would say that we were mature. Even science tells us that. Those that basically talk about human development, etc., said that maturity is usually around 18 years of age, and we know boys and girls change. But here I am at 27 years of age, operating a life that seems to be under maturity. Now look, I was very knowledgeable of the things of the world. I understood a lot of the way that people operated and the world operated in the things of the world. And matter of fact, in a lot of cases, I would say that I was more wise. I was kind of one of the wiser of the serpents. That's just the way it is. That's what my flesh was. That's what I was as an earthen man. That's what it was about. Everything on the earth, I had no heavenly focus, no immortality focus. I thought I'd got dunked and baptized and got my fire insurance. Now let me just survive the best way I can on the planet. That's just where I was. That's all I knew there was to be. I wasn't that excited about attending church on Sunday and Wednesday because most every service that I'd been to in my childhood bored me to death, and all I could wait for is the cookies and the juice and to get home and say I went to church and whatever that was. So it was just a process that I had to go through. So here we are. My plight was I was 27 years of age in flesh and had all of this knowledge, understanding, wisdom, and power. All that flesh and influence upon my life. So no wonder that my flesh ruled over my spirit. Matter of fact, a babe in Christ, can't even bow a knee. You just laying there goo goo gaga. You don't even know how to begin the fight, much less oppose or wrestle or overcome or rule and reign over the flesh. But what we want is this transition right here. Is we want to transition from the flesh ruling over our spirit to eventually our spirit ruling over our flesh. That, my friends, is a process. And it's a process of growth. That's why growth excites me. It pumps me up. It fires me up, because these two timelines are exactly that picture of growth. The question is not necessarily, am I growing? The question is, how do I grow? So if it's how do I grow, what is it that causes my spirit to grow? Because that's the reason for praying and fasting. See, when you pray, your spirit man is edified. When you fast, your flesh is weakened. So you see great reason why Jesus now fasted for 40 days and 40 nights before he encountered the king of the earth, the principality and power of the air, he that is the father of the fallen. He was preparing his spiritual man to be on 9, on 10, like no man ever before. Not only that, is there short 2.5 to 3 years later, he was going to be submitting all that, and not only taking on the flesh of the Father, but also the flesh of all humanity for all time. So Jesus was on 9. So anyway, he is our great high priest. He is the king of all kings, because his metron, his measure of rule, far circumferences far greater than anything we are. That's why it's ludicrous to think we are his equal. It's ludicrous. And you'll notice that ludicrousness here in just a moment. This is the depiction, and this is what I really want you to understand. For 27 years of my life, I was trying to ascertain or to gain as much knowledge and understanding and wisdom to rule in the world, to do this, to usually make other people both spiritually and carnally bow to me, so that I could have my stuff, my things, my way, my rulership, do what I say, or consequences will follow. It was never this, where it was my spirit man ruling others or ruling other Christians. Now look, in our immaturity and lack of understanding in Christianity, sometimes we have pastors, preachers, leaders that do want to do that. They want to submit other Christians to their way of doing things. Even that is tainted. This is what I'm going to tell you, is this may be the most freeing thing that you ever receive in your life if you have an ear to hear it, is this. I was 27 years old in the flesh. I was a baby in the spirit. But God's desire is that my spirit man be so much the greater than my flesh man. Because the heavenly is always above the earthen. Remember what Jesus said? Let the dead bury the dead. As though he wasn't even concerned about it. Meaning that his children and his family was his concern. And that was 99.9999% of his concern. He was not concerned about the children of the fallen or of the serpent or the carnal man or the earthen or the darkness. He was concerned about those that were born again in heavenly. Your name is written in the Lamb's book. All these things. Your name is, today you will be with me in paradise. See, all these things that this birth happens. It is not a question to me, and I don't debate this one iota. I can't hardly tolerate it. Is, can a person lose their salvation? Maybe they can. I'm just going to say this. Is when you are the seed of God, you are born again, period. Nothing changes that. Now look. Now you understand how someone can be a Christian and still operate in the ways of the world. How does a baby overcome a 27-year-old man? That baby, if a baby was laying right there to my side and I was flesh and he was spirit, how often is that baby going to be able to make a difference or change the way I move? It's going to be difficult. There has to be a power or an authority that comes in for a time to cause that flesh to tolerate, hence bow for a time before this occurs, that their spirit man overcomes their flesh and man. So on the next one, I'm going to teach you this process. The will of God is not this complex thing, although it's profound. It's a very simple and detailed process that walks itself out. And when we engage in that, we see exponential growth, meaning that a 27-year-old, a 45-year-old, an 80-year-old, it doesn't matter how old you are in the flesh, God supersedes your spiritual growth to become the authority over your flesh. Not in just one realm. Oh, I go to church Sunday and Wednesday. But God's desire is all realms. That's why teaching the next generation is a huge and powerful thing, because we want them right out of the gate that their spiritual man has already got their flesh bowed in the beginning. And that is you and I's desire. 27 years, that was God's choice to call us then, to call me then. So 27 years, now I've got to discount a lot of this. I still utilize it for the salvation of others, because now I'm as wise as serpents, because I've lived there. I've had dominion there. I've had rule and reign there. So I can speak to them with some foreknowledge. I've wore their shoes. Now I'm born in the spirit. So now I've got to get in an environment. You put seed in a growth environment to mature. But I'm a baby. So for a time, the difficulty is my flesh accepting the fact that, hey, I may be something very significant in the world, but in spiritual things, I don't know nothing. That is true humility. So we'll talk more about that in just a moment.